So, who's telling the truth? Who's telling the truth? Is Poet telling the truth? Is Alhan telling the truth? Specz telling the truth? Let's talk about it.
Meeting the whole Bayern Munich football team because of me and Vu. That's the reality I gave you. There is Poet without Specz, but there potentially isn't Specz in this form without Poet. Doesn't mean Specz wouldn't have been something later on. Of course he would have. The guy is super talented. But I'm Poet. So if I stand next to you for 1 year, that is marketing. Just keeping it real. 2016,
no, I hear it.
I'm Poet. 2026, I'm Poet. I'm bringing you to places as if to say I'm your agent. I'm getting you situations to manifest, and that's helping your product. That's helping your brand. That's helping more people work with you because they can go, he works with Poet. So where we are today, loads of these guys, they just sat down and said, I want that position, and when I get it, this is what I'm going to do. And when they get it, all they think about is themselves. Oh, these men have done this, well, my dad's dying of cancer, bro. My kids, I can't find them. So, Tigo, you've decided to rob me when my dad's dying, I have to give away the business. And this is the guy that you want to stand with. You men are washed youths.
All right.
Dead or alive, who would you have on?
On the show?
Yeah, on the show.
Poet.
Who's the most honest person you know?
That's a tough one. That's very hard. Take your time with this one, though. Think this through. I've locked in. I'm locked in. I'm locked in as well. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Poet.
In this raw scenario, there's Poet's truth, Specz and the Turkish boy truth, the Barlet boy Tico's truth, and then there's the lie in the middle. Now, the big question is, who's telling the lie and who's in denial? The other thing we business about was the facts. And one of the facts is, at one point, they all used to be good friends. That's a fact.
He's gone on there and said he never seen a penny of Filthy while he was on there. I see him say that. But I received pennies of Filthy. So how did you know? You're our top boy. You know what I'm trying to say? You're our top boy. So how did you know? Or then even if it wasn't, say like, directly off Filthy, it's from the Filthy network and from the atmosphere, and you going and getting other jobs and doing other things and rare. That year we broke up, you had a sensational year. You being on Filthy is integral to all of that. So I don't know whether the money that you got came directly from Filthy, but it's because of as a result of your of the platform and being on the platform that put all the eyes on you, that made you go and be able to do the things that you're doing. So even if it's like trickle down residual stuff, like there was some type of benefit from being on there for you, which you definitely earned from.
I can't be part of the culture. You've been brain dead.
Poet, go get your license.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You can't drive, bro.
You're
46, fam. Stop worrying about Alhan and Specz and Tigo and all that. Go and learn how to drive, man. You lanky scrapyard.
So, if you don't know, you've been living under a rock. It's all kicking off right now. Pound Sterling did a good interview with Poet the other day, and Poet was saying a lot of things. And it was interesting because Alhan came back literally a couple of days later with his response. And I know there's a lot of back and forth and name calling, and it's very hard to define who's supposedly telling the truth. But what I would say is, in situations like this, because it reminds me a lot of the AFTV situation with Robbie and Troops, and they've had a bit of a falling out. In the sense of Poet basically was the guy who put the whole thing together. He put people in positions, and it's kind of falling apart. But I think they're both telling the truth, or they're both telling their versions of the truth. I both feel like they both feel strongly that they've been wronged, but I also feel like there's a lot more to the story. But I think there's always truth in everything. Even if it's a lie, there's 10% truth in everything. That's what I believe anyway. But what did stand out to me was when Poe was accused of not paying Specz, he never denied it. He kind of downplayed it, in my opinion, in the sense when he was just like, I'm Poet. Back in the day, like my name held weight. So I put you in parties and certain situations where people are like, oh, you've come with Poet, da 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 da. Who are you? And then you basically start networking. You basically start networking off of Poet's name, basically, which I don't think anybody's denied that to be the case. But my thing is, when you're starting out certain things, also you can't mix family, money, business, pleasure. You just can't mix it all. You can't mix work and all. It just gets messy. Contracts need to be put into place so stuff like this don't happen. But I always find it weird and strange how when things get started off, don't get me wrong, Poe probably thought he was doing a good thing, helping people out, and he was probably looking at it like, I'm doing all the back work in the back, putting all the pieces together, putting certain things, putting certain show ideas together, running around, doing all like the business calls and everything. You lot should be grateful. But we're living in the real world. Certain man got kids, we've all got bills to take care of. You don't know the next man's situation. So if you know he's taking time out to come and put blood, sweat and tears to make this business come to fruition, it's only right that you give a man a little change, a little compensation. And these are sort of conversations that should have been had at the beginning. So like it's Poet's fault, but then at the same time, it's Specz and Alhan's fault for letting the situation get to the way it is. And even Alhan touched on it, saying how there was a lot of stuff he let slide because he was in awe of this guy. And I get it, but stuff like this needed to be nipped in the bud. After the first weeks or months, you should have had a conversation to say, listen, is there I need some sort of payment or travel money or something. And then I'm sure, well, even if Poet said no, you would have known where you stood. But then going back to Poet, there's no way in your right mind you're thinking that these guys are going to do things for free, and you're not. Like, what, as a friend or, a goodwill gesture, you're not trying to compensate these guys at all. Because the same way you're turning around saying your name held weight, and because of you these men are in certain positions, you should also look at it as it's a mutual 50-50 agreement, as in they're helping you out just as much as you're helping them out, because Specz is well liked. So as he's popping, you're popping, your show's popping, Filthy Fellas is popping. Not my type of show, but it's just kind of crazy. And then for him to sit there and say, his channel never got monetized until recently, I don't know. Because again, when you're like the owner or the kind of boss or the CEO behind everything, there's a lot of things people don't see, your friends don't see, and pressures that you don't know. But again, if you're all friends and you've all known each other, and there's a mutual friendship there, and people are putting in, your friends are turning up week in, week out, putting in the work for you, it's only right they get a little something. Even if you're not giving them a salary, to give them something towards their travel, because Specz has got kids, like, people got real life situations going on. That's my take on it personally. But with the whole culture vulture thing with Alhan, yes and no. A bit of a culture vulture, maybe. It's kind of hard to prove. And I say that because you gave him the cosign to be in where he's in the space that he's in. Yes, he's in a black space. Yes, he's Turkish, whatever. But from the time, and this goes back to the point where can white people say the N-word? No, they can't. But there's certain men that felt comfortable saying it around their friends, and because their friends don't say nothing and they're black, they feel comfortable to carry on saying it to the point where it's like you can't really tell them otherwise. So from the beginning, because you've let Alhan into the space now, you can't really get mad that he's kind of taking it where he's taking it. But again, I've got no issues with Alhan. He's not my cup of tea. I think because he's that lower generation as well. He's not, was he like 20 something? But for how old he is and what he's done, he's very successful. He's got a good fan base, you know, like he's doing his thing, so you can't hate on it. I would say he's more successful than a lot of people his age, or a lot of people when I was his age, or a lot of people my generation that was his age. He's 10 times more successful than him. So that's what I have to say on that. But I thought it was hilarious when Alhan does have his moments. I thought it was hilarious when he responded saying, I'll give you one of my cars if you pass your driving. You're 45 years old. I thought that was funny. But a part of me thought it was a marketing campaign, but I don't know. I don't know how the situation is going to end. I know people that know Specz, and they're telling me Specz wouldn't lie, but I also know people that have gone to school with Poet, and they said to me, like, he's not that type of person. So it's hard, but then at the same time, there's stories that are coming out about Poet that I've seen Poet in certain situations. So when they're describing how he's getting chased and how people are not feeling his vibe, I can get it, because I've seen him and he's a little bit off. He is a little bit off. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the situation.